Hey everyone, welcome to day 28. Cannot believe that we are nearing the end of the month. At this point, I hope that you are not stressed out. I hope that you are coming to your follow-ups with that heart of service, that there's no desperation in the air, that you have broken down your month-end goals into how many days you still have left to work this month, and that you're feeling confident that you are going to get there. I do want to talk today a little bit about people who will come to the end of the month and they will have seen no progress from last month. So you signed up, or didn't sign up, that's a poor way of saying it, but you decided that you were going to take this little course, you were going to learn something new every single day that you can apply to your Scentsy business so that you would learn how to make money. And some of you have come to the end of, you're almost at the end of the month, and you might be telling yourself a story that it's okay, it's not even that important, I can do it next month, it's not a big deal. And while it sounds like you're being gracious to yourself and you're just like letting yourself off the hook, I do want to just really challenge you to consider where you would like to see yourself 5 years from now with your Scentsy business, and I mean in life in general, right? So if you want to be a superstar director, you absolutely can do that in the next way sooner than 5 years, but like, to be generous, let's say 5 years. So if on average Scentsy superstar directors are earning $10,000 paychecks, I want you to think forward to what your life would look like 5 years from now if you were a superstar director, if you were bringing in $10,000 a month, that's $120,000 a year. What would that mean for yourself? What would that mean for your family? What would that mean for your business? How would you be feeling in that instance? What pain points would be taken away? For example, when I was working 50 hours a week at a day job, and I loved my job and I loved the company that I worked for, but I was missing out on important things that were going on with Jacqueline. So I went back to work after my 1 year maternity leave. That's what we have here in Canada. I went back to work, and so I missed a lot of things that she did in her first, from the time she was 1 to 2. And that actually breaks my heart to think about those things that I had missed out on. And it was during that point in my life that I had been introduced to Scentsy. And I just, it was awful. I never allowed myself to dream that I could be a work from home mom. I never let myself even dream that big, because I thought I would be letting myself down, because there was no way that would ever happen. My mindset was very fixed in that way. I thought, people who do network marketing and they stay home, they are a unicorn. They're an anomaly. They're, their husband is independently wealthy and they chose to do this as a side thing. I kept making excuses for why people were successful with not just Scentsy, but any business. And I really just was at a really low point, and I was like, I don't want to miss any more of what Jacqueline does. So I actually joined Scentsy when Jacqueline was 4, and I started to invite people who were hosting. I started to invite them to do Scentsy with me. We did not have host exclusive starter kits. It was not like that. I just felt that if they have invited their friends over and their friends have bought from me and they decide to join, then really they deserve to have the party. Because even though I showed up and I kind of did the demonstration, they are the ones who actually did all the work, right? Because to be honest, doing a presentation is not a lot of work. And so I started to recruit my first hosts, and I would essentially flip their party. It became their launch party. And they were usually getting shooting star right off the bat, and they were well on their way to earning sensational start. And so that's really how I began my business. And then I met my upline, who is Megan Clements. I met her at a pizza party that was I joined in September 2011. And I met her in late January, early February of 2012 at this pizza party. And my impression of what a superstar director was completely blown out of the water that night. So we were all just sitting around. We were all basically wearing jeans and t-shirts, like sweats, like there was nothing fancy or anything. And I actually found myself getting irritated. Like, why is this lady making us wait? Like, where is she? Like, because what I was looking for, what my expectation was, is that there would be this person who was dropped off in a fancy car, and that she would be dressed to the nines, and she shopped at places that normal people like me didn't get to shop at. And I had this really poor opinion of what I was expecting from a superstar director. And so that night, the person who was hosting the pizza party, she got up and she said, like, thanks everyone for coming. I hope you've had enough pizza. I want to introduce you who don't know her, to Megan Clements, our superstar director. And you guys, you could have knocked me over, because up stood Megan. She was wearing Lululemon pants and a t-shirt, and I would not have in a million years guessed that she was a top earner of the company. So the superstar directors in Scentsy, they are the top 0.002% of the company. So what I had in my fixed mindset about what a superstar director would be and would look like was completely off. And that's when I really realized that Scentsy is a different company. Scentsy is not like these other companies that I was familiar with. I had done lots of network marketing companies before, and they lived in mansions, and they drove fancy cars, and they dressed at those stores that nobody normal like me could dress at or buy from. They had diamonds, and like I've learned that it's probably a big facade. But back then I thought that was what the top 0.002% of a company, I thought that's how they were. And they kept a real arm's length from, the little people on their team, and they only, did fancy things with the fancy high earners and all this stuff. So I had a really poor mindset about what a top earner of a company would look like. So Megan, if you haven't met her, she's just like the most kind and generous and wonderful person. She got up and she just shared with us from her heart why she started doing Scentsy. And she had 3 kids, and one of them has special needs, and she was able to leave her day job, and she worked like for the city of Calgary, I think. Like, she had a good job, and her husband was a lawyer, and she talked about her husband struggling with depression because he hated his job so much. And she said that she was able to leave that job that she was at and do Scentsy full time, and that she was retiring her husband from his law firm to do Scentsy with her. And that was the first time I had ever let myself think, like, whoa, I wonder if I actually like tried this, like, would that be possible for me? Because here she is, and she's just wearing jeans and a t-shirt just like me, and she's got 3 kids, and I have a kid, and her husband was miserable at his job. And I was like, you know what, I feel like if Megan can do this, I think I could too. And so that became, I get emotional, but that became a catalyst for me in my life, that I was able to look at her and see that there was actually nothing like super special about her. Don't get me wrong, she's very special, but what I'm meaning is she just puts on her jeans one leg at a time as well, right? There was nothing that was out there that I felt that I personally would never be able to achieve. And so when I saw her and I heard her story, and I was like, you know what, if Megan can do this, so can I. So I spoke to Megan and I said, like, what do I have to do? I will say, actually, before I spoke to her, I left with a team member who was the one who actually convinced me to go to this pizza party in the first place. And when we got in the car, we turned to each other and we said, okay, we're going to become directors this year. Like we were like so excited, and we were talking to directors that were there, and they were letting us know that, you know, on average directors are earning $1,000 a month. And we were like, man, $1,000 a month, that would change my life. And so we turned to each other, we said, we're going to become directors. And so then I asked Megan, so what do I have to do? And she let me know what the requirements were to be a director, and that I was going to have to recruit. And so that's what I did. I just started telling everybody about it because I was so excited, and I was not telling them about it so that I could retire from my job and do Scentsy full time. I was telling them about it because I had Megan's story became my story of success with Scentsy. So at that point, I personally didn't feel like I was very successful. I was a star consultant at the time. And that was in my own mind. That is not a label that was put on somebody for me. That was in my own mind that, well, I'm not successful yet. Even though I was, because if I was a star consultant, obviously I had already done some recruiting and I had promotions. And to be honest with you guys, I did not know the compensation plan. And I did not know that I was working toward earning a Scentsy trip. Like, I didn't know anything. And so that's why it's important for me to share this information with you, because the more you know, the more you share. And knowledge is power, especially when it comes to this kind of thing. So if you feel like you don't have a story yet, even though I know that you do, okay? I know that you do have a story. But if it helps, share somebody else's story in the meantime until you feel comfortable sharing your own. That's what I did. I started telling people, like, there's this girl and she was working for like the city, and now she stays home with her kids, and she's retiring her husband from a law firm. And like, people were like, what? And so I used her story because I felt like I didn't have one yet. And so that's what I did. I set out to become a superstar director. So I knew that the first step was going to be to become a director. Now you're maybe wondering, did the two of you guys do that together? And I will tell you that no, we did not. And she quit maybe the month after that, or 2 months later or something, because I believe that her belief in herself was not strong enough, and her desire to have what we heard about had waned. And this is a really important thing that you need to talk to yourself about. Is this important enough for you? So like I said, at that point in my life, I had missed out on Jacqueline from ages basically 1 to almost 5, where I was working full time, and I would come home from work and I would, have dinner with them and put her to bed, spend some time with Troy, and then I would go up to my Scentsy office, and I would usually work from 9 to 10 p.m. That's the time that I would do my work. So whether that was entering orders, whether it was talking to my team, whether, whatever it was, whatever little trainings, it's awful, but you can look back on this, my YouTube channel, and you can see a completely different version of me from back in the day, which is okay because I have evolved and I have become better. And I'm proud of that. So for me, the pain of not being with Jacqueline was great. And so it was the catalyst that really helped me decide that it was not optional for me to fail. So my question to you today is, have you been giving yourself the option to fail? Have you been giving yourself the easy way out and saying, well, it's just my side job, it doesn't matter. Oh, well, I didn't make more money this month, even though I watch Jen's trainings every single day. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Maybe I'll do it next month. When you're telling yourself that kind of story, you're not believing in yourself. And I heard a quote this morning. Let me grab it here. I heard a quote this morning, and it said, just a reminder, your lack of commitment to yourself is an insult to the people who believe in you. I'm going to say that again because you might want to write that down. Just a reminder, your lack of commitment to yourself is an insult to the people who believe in you. So I believe in you. I know that if I can do this, anybody can. The only one who is stopping you from hitting Superstar Director is you. And there are days that I don't feel like working, but my goal is much more important to me than my feeling, because nobody feels like doing anything until they're passionate about it. I want to encourage you to become passionate about your goals. So if you're thinking about what future self would look like in 5 years, and I want you to really zone in on that. What does that feel like? What does that mean to your family? What difference does it make in the world for you to be in that position? Are you debt-free? Are you paying for cars in cash instead of monthly payments, which is outrageous, and you're going to pay almost double the cost of the car if you're doing payments? I mean, there's just so much that you can free up if you are willing to do the work. So if you're today at day 28 and you're like, oh, if you're really honest with yourself, you didn't feel like doing the work. You didn't. None of us do. That's the newsletter. No one feels like doing it, at least not every single day. Did I feel like coming up with 31 days of content to share with you? Not really. Did I know, however, that it would have the potential to make a change, to make a difference in your life? Yes, I did. And that's what made it worth it. That's what made me decide to do these videos. Because let's be honest, I've opened this up to everybody. This is not just for my direct team that I'm getting paid on. I don't care about that. You could be really far removed from me and my organization, and that's okay. The reason I'm here, the reason I am serving you is because I believe in you, because I know that you can do this. Now, if I'm not hitting a nerve at this point, which hopefully I am, and in a good way, I want you instead, if looking forward is kind of too scary for you, or you're kind of still not really putting yourself as accountable, I want you to think about where you were 5 years ago. And has there been the significant change in your life, in your situation, in your job, that you are proud of where you have come? And for some of you, it will be yes, and I applaud you. But for many people, they live a mediocre life. And I do not believe that anyone was put on this planet to be mediocre. What do I mean by mediocre? I mean, you get up, you eat breakfast, you might hit the snooze button, you get up at the last possible minute, you eat breakfast, you might eat it in the car on the way to work because your sleep was more important. You're eating your breakfast, you get to work, you put in 8 hours, you get back in the car, you drive home, you make dinner, you eat dinner, you watch a show, you go to bed, and you rinse and repeat for the last 5 years of your life. And the reason I'm telling you that is not to make you feel sad or to feel guilty. I'm telling you that because today has to be the day that you decide, I'm no longer talking about my dreams. I am pursuing them. You need to be accountable to yourself. You need to hold yourself in such high regard and know that discipline is self-love. So on the days that you don't feel like it, which is going to be 99% of the days that you don't feel like it, you're like, but my goal is more important than my feeling. It might help if you put together a vision board. I personally thought that these were woohoo, and I was like, what in the world are people doing with these vision boards? But I went to I did a team night, we made vision boards, and I stuck it beside my computer monitor. And wouldn't you know it, I achieved every single thing that I had on my vision board year after year after year. So you might need to do that little reminder. You might need to do a vision board and have it beside your computer screen. So when you sit down and you're like, I don't feel like doing a follow-up call right now, and you look up and you see that vision board, whatever it means to you, you choose that vision every time. You have to learn to stop letting yourself down. I know that you can do it because I did it. I would love some feedback on this. You can send me a private message. You can drop some comments below. I will always reply to those comments. I will always reply to emails. But I believe in you, and I will continue to believe in you until you can believe in yourself. I look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. Bye.